Hey guys, this is DPR Ian. Just finished the Zach Sang show, and we were talking about my downs, my ups, from clowns to a lot of this and that. So go please check it out.
Hello, beautiful human. My name is Zach. That is Dan, and we welcome to the studio, DPR Ian.
Hey.
Is
Thank
that
you so much.
pronounced correctly?
Yes, that is correct. DPR Ian. Yeah.
Talking to that bad boy. Eat that microphone for me.
Sorry. Yeah,
Make it a
DPR
little
Ian.
more
Yeah, that's right.
I want you to be comfortable, but you are a very soft-spoken person.
Yes, I am. It's a lot of the it's a lot of people misconcept that. They think I'm very like loud, I guess, at first glance, image-wise.
Why? Is it your tattoos?
Maybe. Yeah, I believe so.
Your tattoos are beautiful, by the way.
Thank you so much. Every single one of them actually has a story to tell. Yeah.
When did you start getting them?
I think I started getting them about 7 years ago.
Wow.
It was just the first one I just got out of because it was just pure. I was just rebelling against my company at that time because I used to be in the Kpop scene.
Yes, C-Clown.
Yes. Oh wow. And you weren't meant to like get tattoos, obviously, as an idol, but I just went ahead and got one secretly on my chest. So.
What did you first get?
It's just a motto that I live by. It's called be there, be down, be you. So it's just be there at the right place and always be down to do something, and then be yourself.
What was your company's reaction to it?
At first, honestly, I don't think they really cared.
Okay.
But then afterwards, when we would have to go up on stage and stuff like that, the costumes and stuff would have to be just catered to just completely covering it. So I think that's when they started like getting kind of pissed.
Why was K-pop a path that you chose to go down?
I don't know. I honestly came from a small town in Australia called Wollongong, and I was just brought up in a full like Caucasian neighborhood. So I had no like Asian, contact or relationships. So I didn't really know too much about my own culture. So I think when I went to Korea, K-pop was like a huge culture shock to me.
Do you get discovered for K-pop before you go to Korea?
No, I got discovered in Korea, and it was pretty crazy because I was walking out to the convenience store, and they just streetcasted me. Like this gentleman in a suit, wearing a tie, just handed me out this, I guess, ticket or something.
Like a flyer?
Yeah, and he was asking me all sorts of questions. He was asking me obviously how old I was, and I thought it was like some shady business type of thing, some like underground type of thing. So I didn't really consider too much until it said, like it had the company's name. So I called my mom and asked her about it. She said, yeah, it used to be a fairly big company back in the days. So I went the next day, not knowing what I was walking into. It turned out I went to an audition, and I still remember you had like 30 people just waiting in a line, and I thought it would just be like an interview thing, but apparently everyone was like rehearsing, singing, and I had nothing to prepare for. So when it came to my turn, they were like, "Can you sing?" And I was like, "No." Can you dance? I was like, "Yeah, I could dance." Do you have anything prepared for us? I was like, "No." So they ended up just taking the guy that went before me, used his track, and after that it was like, man, it was just so embarrassing because I was b-boying freestyle to a song that was just it was a comical song. It was like I don't know how to explain it, but it was just like it was by Psy, the Gangnam Style guy. So it was his song, but it was like a very interesting retro-y like beat. Nothing you would imagine b-boying to. So I think they thought that was funny. And they just kept me like going through the whole song, and at that point I was just like, oh man, I'm completely like screwed. Like, I'm fucked. And then I went home, and on the bus ride they called me back and they're like, come back in tomorrow. And that's kind of how it really started.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Did you go to Korea with the intention?
Not at all.
Like, did you have any desire to be in entertainment or make music before even going?
Well, because I'm such a spontaneous person, I'm such a in the moment guy that whatever I guess piques my interest, I just delve right into it. And at that time, I was into like b-boying, dancing, and honestly, Korea at that time was absolutely blooming, with winning like championships. I'm not sure if you remember, but they were just dominating that world. So I just figured, I'm passionate about this. I want to do something with my life. I feel like Australia is not really the best place to be ambitious. It's such a peaceful and comfortable country that you become complacent with a lot of things. So, convinced my mum, and I guess after uni, first year of uni, I flew to Korea in the hopes of, I don't know what, honestly, I have no idea why. I was so ballsy, so I just went, no plan. And I just figured it would work out. And man, like the first year was just hell for me. Like, I remember just getting there. I didn't know how to speak Korean. And I just went door to door, like just random people's doors, and asking them if they wanted to dance with me.
What?
Yeah.
Did you film it?
No. Well, I think
I'm confused. That's very creepy.
It is. If you think about it now, it's pretty creepy. I guess that's how desperate I was, and that's how.
Were you looking for friends, or what were you looking for?
Friends too, but I think ultimately, I wanted to start a movement of some sort, and I didn't know what it was, but that was just my initial goal at the time, and I just. Oh God, I'm just like remembering it back now. It's so embarrassing. I can't believe I did that, but I did that. I went to door to door, asked people if I could dance, if they wanted to dance, or if they knew how to dance. And if they didn't, I was like, I can teach them. And it was just a matter of convincing these people at the door, and they were just so confused with my broken Korean. So you can just imagine. My God, it was just insane.
Yeah, but why? Well, I don't understand. Why would you do this?
I don't know. I think it was.
What'd you gain out of it?
I think I was just hoping to gain just some type of, I don't know, like some type of connection with people to start some type of revolutionary movement. It sounds like a cult at this point. I don't know, but like, no, honestly, I just thought it would work out like that. But
did it?
Well, coincidentally, the people that I did manage end up like hooking up with were at the time, YouTube was just hitting off. So I had a lot of stuff on YouTube, and a lot of people watched my stuff for tutorials and stuff like that. And I guess one of the guys that messaged me, who is now like DPR Live, we kind of met on there, and he, I was like looking at his dance videos, and I just thought, maybe this guy could be it. And I just messaged him, and I gave him my number. We should meet the next day. And he was from Guam originally, but he came to Korea the same time I did. So, and then, it just kind of started growing from there. Like one thing led to another. And
so how soon into you being living in Korea do you get recognized and scouted for K-pop?
For me personally, it took about a year, I believe. It was just very random. And nor did I ever think I was going to do K-pop. Reason being, I just didn't know too much about it. And I come from a hardcore metal background. So I used to just, for me, like my go-to peace Zen music is just a lot of like hardcore metal, grind metal. I was in a band before, so it was just, my world was just completely of that sort, and then I guess when I came to Korea, it was just a cultural shock for me. I've never seen anything like that. I kind of thought maybe doing this just completely honestly, it would grow me an audience for later being able to use that audience to continue on with this idea of a movement that I had.
And it has, right?
Yeah, apparently so. And but Jesus, man, the type of stuff that I had to go through in that period of time was just absolutely hell. I had no idea, so I kind of walked into the lion's den at that point, and Oh God, it was just a crazy experience. Like it not only is it me trying to adapt to the culture of Korea, but just initially like being a product, I didn't actually think they would take that literally, you know. So
But they do.
they do. I mean, you hear about it all the time. Like you hear a lot of cases of people coming out and, you know, just falling into depression, and they have all types of disorders. I mean, they'll do that to you for sure. I feel like nowadays it's gotten way better. Like it's kind of got filtered through with all the old heads.
Yeah, it's very different.
Very different.
Like the cream has really risen to the top.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's more consolidated in terms of what companies matter.
Right.
And are shaping culture in a substantial way.
Absolutely.
And
you know?
the bigger the stars get, the more control, like the pendulum of control will swing in their direction.
Absolutely. It would have to.
100%. But to be honest, like you were a kid who's going to a convenience store that was literally some guy in a suit handed you a flyer. You have zero leverage.
No.
I don't give a fuck if you have the best voice that side of the globe.
Yeah,
you have zero fucking leverage.
That is true. Street casting is one of the... I think they still do it time to time.
I mean, by the way, almost majority of the K-pop stars who have sat on our couch where you're sitting today were scouted at malls, in Toronto, in Sydney, in LA, like literally
everywhere,
all over the globe.
Yes, it is a thing. Yeah, I mean, don't they do that here too? Like they kind of cast you like.
They used to have kiosks at the mall.
Right.
You go to the mall.
Interesting.
And some woman would come up to you and or your parent that was with you and be like, have you ever thought about modeling for your child? Your child has potential. Your child's really pretty.
Right.
Imagine your kid on the side of a billboard.
Right.
But like it's not the same.
Yeah.
Because the truth is, like, when you get scouted for K-pop, you actually get put into a program.
That is true.
And that program could funnel a bunch of different projects.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think it was also the notion that a lot of the kids, you know, they're kind of fed this dream, and especially when you're like that young, obviously very naive. So I mean, I kind of signed my life away at that point, just thinking it would just somewhat offer me an opportunity. The crazy thing about the scene in K-pop is, you know, we know of the big labels, like the bigger labels where, you know, you have now BTS, like JYP and all that.
SM, Hive.
Yeah. So so you have that group, but then underneath that group, you have a whole, like almost 1,000 other groups.
All trying to be the big guy.
Man, and it's insane. Back then it used to be a new idol group every week. Now it's every day. And and how I know this is you go to these music broadcasting stations, you know, when you get to see your, you know, like your idols on stage and stuff. There would be literally in the facility and in the waiting rooms. There's like the waiting rooms are also divided into like you have like the VIP waiting room and all that. And in one of the lower waiting rooms, like they have just about like 50 groups that don't even get on to the stage, and they just arrive in the hopes of convincing the PD to like let them on just today, and then a lot of them would just go back. Like that's everything set up. During my time, we did that. You know. So
how do you define an idol?
Well, for me, technically, I always thought the term idol was obviously someone you look up to, you idolize. You know, it's like a role model. I think that's what was a little confusing in my time, because I think I first heard the term K-pop idol. So in just retrospect for me, I just kind of always thought that was, you know, like someone you really idolize, you know. So it was just interesting how they just turned that term into some. So I mean, in a sense, it's kind of like they are creating somewhat of a role model, but it's just the idea that role model is such a perfect picture image, right? For me too, like I'm Korean, but I was not like I had no, up till that point, I didn't really know what that looked like what a K-pop idol was. And I still remember when I flew into Korea for the first time, everyone was Korean, and that shocked me first. Pretty funny. And on these billboards, you had all these like very like mannequin doll looking girls, and you know, I thought, wow, that looks so nice aesthetically, like it's pleasing. And I find out later they're like a girl group and stuff, and they actually like perform and stuff. So that was very interesting.
Well, at what point into your time with C Clown and the K-pop world were you like, I got to get out of here? Like, this is not for me.
Honestly, the minute I went in, but it's like, but I mean, I stuck.
Why'd you stick with it?
Just something inside me. I was like, you know, I wasn't gonna just back down out of this. Like I was too stubborn. We were trained. Every thing about us is every time we go into that building, we were told everyone's our competition. And by the way, guys, this is just like from my personal group experience. It's not talking for the rest, but and you know, it's like we just keep a narrow eye. So like, but then it's funny because like the first time I saw like our team was the only one like that is when we went to the waiting room, and every single other team would just be, you know, like collabing with each other, talking with each other, and I was just shocked. I was like, oh my god, like are they allowed to do that? But so, you know, and then occasionally you'll find someone that you know, and they'll come over, but then they'll send them away. And I remember the one of the most embarrassing times was we went on. So they do like pre-record, and you go about, you get ready at 5 a.m. in the morning, go get your hair makeup done, and then go to this place, and then you wait about another 4 hours.
Jesus Christ.
And then rehearse, dry rehearsal. And then you do another another rehearsal right before the show. And when you get up on the show, you do 3 minutes and you're out, and you have to wait until everyone finishes. So for us, we went up, one day we went up as one of our second promotions, and you know, like there's, you know, the red lights come on with the camera, so you have to fixate your eyes wherever it is. We had a hard time, by the way. The light was just tiny as fuck, so it was just like sometimes when you're dancing, like you miss it. But I think one of my members, he missed looking at the red light, because when that comes on, that's, you know, that means the camera's on.
Yeah,
it's rolling. So he missed one of those lights, and then when we came back down, we just got like yelled at like crazy because he missed it. And then they made us like kneel in the corridor where everyone was like going back and forth from the stage to the waiting rooms, and it was just the most embarrassing. Like
they made you kneel, which is like the most, it's either a sign of respect to someone you're kneeling to, or a sign of disrespect towards yourself.
Oh yeah, shame. Shame.
Yeah,
I wish it was a sign of respect. I mean, I kind of wanted to make it look like that, but it was just,
no, bowing is respect, kneeling is shame.
Yes,
I'm sorry.
Yes.
Is it like a hard process to adapt DPR Ian, or to at least make sure you're making the right decision when it comes to a name?
Yeah, 100% now. I almost, some could say I turned like a full 180 of my image just to get away from that image, you know?
Yeah, but also like Christian Yu is a cool name.
Oh, thank you so much. You know, I have a lot of names. Rome, Parom, you know, Christian, Ian, DPR. The reason is, for me, I'm such into characters that I've always identified a different part of my life to be a different character. Therefore, I would give that me of that self a name, a different name.
So if you do you create characters, or are they?
Oh no, rather than creating characters, because I'm not going to be the same me in 10 years and so forth. So I always hit a stage in my life where I know I'm transitioning, and you know, whether that be from metal to K-pop to dance, and then now to this, to film. It just takes stages in my life, and I just kind of always like giving that a whole new identity. Yeah.
How do you define this stage?
So this stage is Ian. So DPR Ian. And
what does DPR mean?
Well, DPR, you mean our company's name, or?
Oh, so it is the company. I saw that it's a record label too.
Yes, it is. And we just had DPR at the front of it.
Got it.
So, yeah, it's very interesting.
So how would you describe the music you're making now? You go from metal to K-pop to what?
Metal, K-pop to just everything combusted into one now. It's just a whole array of emotions. For me, I at an early age, for me, music was just everything. But for me, I didn't know, but music was everything only if I could imagine something like on it. So I'm a huge imaginer. Like I love to imagine. Like if I'm not doing anything, I'm just imagining, not doing anything else.
So when you say music was a big part of that, was it making music or listening to music?
Listening to music in the early stages. I remember elementary school, just go to the CD stores and you could preview listening to them. I just based it on the album cover. I didn't know what. So a lot of the CDs were like Moby, Jamiroquai, and a lot, just covers that really spoke out to me. And I just took the CDs and I listened to it. And I was just blown away constantly. And I wouldn't leave the store until they'd kick me out, and I'd just go back home. So every Saturday, Sunday, I did that. It was such a. For me, it really filled my highs. And then in middle school, I remember I went manic for some reason, and I didn't know what it was at that time, and I got diagnosed for bipolar 1. I still remember I was sitting in math class, and then all of a sudden I was okay, and then I started bawling out. And my friend was like, "You hate math that much?" And I was like, "I'm like, bro, you're not helping." And I just started bawling, and then I freaked out and I ran outside, and that journey from that to the toilet felt like a whole trip of things coming at me. Everything was slow-mo, and it was just such a weird feeling I've never felt before, and I couldn't simulate it with anything. So I went home, and my mom, it was like, oh, it's just, puberty or whatnot. But then it happened again and again and again. And that's when I went to the therapist, and it was apparently like a bipolar thing. It was genetics. It's just that my cell just kind of triggered during puberty. So my God, trying to control that was just a hell of a ride. Yeah.
And what role does music play in managing that?
So one of the coping mechanisms that they offered me was to channel that through creativity, And I mean, you hear it all the time, but creativity and bipolar or depression, they come hand in hand. So at that time, it was an outlet for me to really take this onto a fresh plate, kind of like a playground, and do anything as you will. However, I sometimes wonder if that did me more harm than good, because it's like you've just shown me a world where you can absolutely do anything you want with the feelings that you have. I, from that point, just ran with it, and it became my secret spot. But it started getting bigger. The things that I kept sweeping under the rug got bigger. And once it's hard, because once you've, I don't know how to say this, but once you've figured how to do this out, it gives you enough of a high and a manic to move on to something bigger and bigger and bigger. And it just has been mounting ever so less. It just kept building and building up to this point. And I just had to find a way to control it more and more, because my outlet was getting smaller. So I had to expand that. And it was just, I'm still trying to figure it out, but it's, I just don't have a middle ground sometimes. It's not sometimes, I think all the times. Yeah.
Which is kind of attached to the first tattoo you got.
Yes.
You're down for anything.
Oh, well, that's a good.
It doesn't matter the direction you're going. You're 100% and then some in that direction.
Yes, that is correct. I just don't like it how a lot of the times I make some of these crazy decisions, whether it be my highs or lows. There's a huge differentiation with your highs and your lows. That for example, if I started doing a project in my highs and I started dipping, I can't go back to that unless I'm back up. So there'll be countless times where I'll make a song during that phase, and if I do not complete it during my highs, I'll have to wait another cycle for me to come back to that. That goes to say same thing with my downs. It's pretty tricky. Yeah.
So the first album, Moodswings, in this order.
Yes.
And then you have a character, Maida, that goes along with that.
That is correct.
Can you explain like how you came up with that whole idea?
Yeah, sure. So Maida, I identify. So as I've just said, it's like I've been living with a lot of manic highs and lows, but every time I'm in that state, I change completely. Like it's as if my world's just been flipped upside down. And the crazy thing is, there's no trigger point. There's no trigger point to this. It just is a chemical switch in your brain. I think for me, I'm just sensitive even to weather. Like, so depending on the temperature of the air, if that changes, I change as well.
Can you feel yourself changing?
Absolutely.
Okay.
But what's been scary is it's been long time ago. It was more of a gradual thing. Like I could just kind of feel the tip of it. Oh, then I know. So I kind of prepare for it. But recently, it's been just abrupt. Like just and I think that's what really shook me. Like I was on shoot the other day, not too long ago, and I remember I just blacked out. I was fine. I was like talking to you, as if I was talking to you guys right now, and I blacked out completely. And then I just, the next thing I remember, I was in the toilet, and I was just like, the glass was broken, and I was just like shaking. And I don't remember a single thing during that blackout. And that's what really scared me. And because I would have that, but then I know if I'm coming to that point, I'll go home and I'll just lock everything. So I found a couple systematical ways that I do things. But anyway, sorry, going back to the Maida thing. So given that, I didn't just want to become any artist. As I told you, like a lot of the songs inspirations come from either my highest points or my darkest points. But I feel like it wouldn't have been right for me to come out as just me, because honestly, it's not me doing whatever it is. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to give that character power, persona, and more so tell my story through that character, So he represents all that.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Are you on medication?
Yes, I am. I had to take a few to come here. To be completely honest, I'm dipping right now, which is why I think I'm just like, I look kind of dead. Just to be completely honest. And it's just a cycle that happens constantly. Actually, I've never been on this radio talk show in this state, but it's definitely something that I'm still trying to figure out. I'm still, it's the creative outlet source, the things that I do. It's definitely, oh my God, it is so destructive. Like almost to the point where I know it's destructive, but I chase chaos in such a way where it's like it just entails me now, and I don't further ensue chaos to anybody else, which is why I think I'm so cautious and adamant to know willingly how this energy is really being portrayed or I guess influenced, because again, it's such a heavy topic, especially this next album, that if I'm not like too careful with it, I know it might send off the wrong energy, and I wouldn't like to do that, Yeah.
One more shot so casually, one more down and I'm meant to be. Have I gone too far with this? Can you see me in the